From One of One Production Studio, located in Fort Lee, New Jersey, this is The Art of Music Tech. And now, here's your host, Fela and Dennis.
Let's go, and welcome to the Art of Music Tech podcast. Thank you for listening, everybody. I'm your host, Fela, and I'm here with my co-host, Dennis.
Hey, guys.
All right. And our special guest today is Michelle Pettinato, the legend of live sound. I mean, come on. She's mixed all the greats. Check her out. She's now started her latest venture, which is Mixing Music Live course. It's an online course that gives you the basics on how to get into this live sound game. Welcome to the show, Michelle.
Hi, Michelle.
Yeah, so Mixing Music Live is an online video course, which is a basic intro to live sound and mixing. It covers, it's aimed at like the beginner, entry level, wannabe sound engineer. You know, it just basically gives you the tools that you need to get out there and start mixing. So we cover the most important concepts of signal flow and proper gain structure, which are some of the things that self-taught engineers don't really know or understand. And that's why they're still struggling to get good sounds and good mixes. So it covers the basic fundamental concepts, but also how to choose the right microphone, how to set up the console properly. It is a big focus on the soundboard, you know, like what all the different components do and how to get signal to it and properly through it and get the best results. Things like how to use a gate and a compressor, how to use effects, how to build a mix. It's basically the tools that you need to get out there and start mixing.
Oh, yeah.
Nice. We're subscribed to your email list, actually.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, we are.
Yeah, we love the emails. Like I said, the one you had with how to deal with what we're going through right now, how to cope, you know, with staying home and stuff like that. It's been great. I'm glad you're putting that information out there. What inspired you to do that one?
I've had a lot of friends who are recently been forced to work from home, and their normal life is just, you know, using home as a place to sleep. So it's been a complete upheaval for them, and the adjustment they're really struggling with. You know, what do I do with all this time being socially isolated? You know, so just trying to figure out how to live their life in a new way for the moment with the virus and everything going on.
Yeah, that was some great information. And how would they get in touch? How would somebody get on the email list? If you just go to the website mixingmusiclive.com and you can sign up for the newsletter. Fantastic. And that comes out once a week, or how often do you usually?
It varies. It's between, you know, sometimes 7 to 10 days usually. And if there's something going on like this, I just send out like a little extra email with how to survive the changing times and norms. So. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, you told me a little bit later, but let's get back into how Mixing Music Live course started. Give me that story. It's a great story.
Yeah, so I had a friend who teaches a course on music licensing. That's how he makes his living, and he's had over 2,000 placements of his own music on TV and in movies. And he created an online course for that about 2 years ago, and he asked me to beta test it for him. And while I was doing it, you know, it was a fantastic course. He started trying to convince me to do one for live sound, which I had no interest in doing. But at the same time, I had a friend whose daughter is in high school, and she's always in the play in the local theater. And she's been always complaining about how the people who do sound for the local theater and for the high school plays just do such a terrible job because they don't know what they are doing. And at the same time, my friend's working on me like, you can just start a course. And then I had another friend who was playing a hometown gig with his you know, for fun local band, and they were doing sound from the stage, but they were having all kinds of issues with feedback, and they couldn't get the people loud enough. So when they took a break, I made a couple suggestions. I said, well, try this and this and this. And he looked at me like I had 3 heads, and he's like, I don't know what any of that means. He's like, well, I'm just turning knobs and hoping something's going to get better. I'm like, you do what you do. So it kind of, I started to realize that there is kind of a market for this, and a need for that very entry level person who wants to do sound for their friend's band, or musicians who want to have better sound at their gigs. For the kid who wants to learn how to do sound for the high school play or local theater, even church sound, somebody who wants to start mixing sound at their church. So there is a ton of information online, and some of it's very vague, some of it's wrong. And a lot of it, the problem is you just don't know what you don't know. So while you can probably find everything online for free, you don't know where to start to search. And you also don't know, if what you're reading is correct or not, because anybody can put anything online. So
nowadays.
Yeah. So I just kind of thought, well, I'm just going to kind of put it all out there in a succinct format that, it gives you enough that you can get out there and start mixing. It doesn't go really deep into theory, other than, like a couple of the most important principles, but I'm not going to teach you how to build a sound system. I'm not going to teach you Ohm's law and physics of audio. It's just, these are the kind of nuts and bolts of what you need if you want to get out there and start doing sound and learn how to mix. So that's kind of how it all came about.
All right, great. Let's get into your background on live mixing. Who did you start out with mixing live?
My first real tour was with the band Spin Doctors. I did front of house for them.
As I like to say, that's the first hipster. That's the first hipster. That's that beanie hat, and
that was 91.
The fingerless gloves. Oh yes, I love it.
Their biggest song was what, 91 or 89?
It was 92.
92.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh
yeah,
my God, that was huge.
It's literally like, people ask all the time, like, well, how do you get on the road and how do you get into this business? And it's so much of being in the right place at the right time and who you know, which was the case for me. I'd been working in, nightclubs, at a sound company, mixing local bands, desperately wanting to get on tour. And a friend of mine was mixing them, and he was trying to get off the road.
Oh.
So he called me up and offered me the job, and I had never heard of them. And, I was like, yeah, sure. I'll take the job. And a month later, their album, broke into the top 100 on Billboard, and it just exploded. So it was, perfect timing. Like, I rode that wave with them, and it was great,
I mean, they stayed on MTV. Don't it?
Yeah.
If you were.
We did, like, we were always doing, like, MTV, TRL and MTV Drops the Ball and David Letterman show. Like, it felt like every other week we were in New York doing something, TV-wise.
Yeah. So where did you go from there? You go from this huge pop group do you go to another pop group, or?
Well, I did the Spin Doctors from 92 on and off through 97. So I was with them for a while, and in between, I did Joan Osborne for her first record. Relish,
she was huge. What if God was one of us? Oh yeah.
Yeah. And what else? From that, the next big thing was Indigo Girls. I did Indigo Girls for about 8 years.
Wow. All right. They're always out. So was a
yeah, they still are too, yeah.
Yeah, still are. Yeah. And then by like the 2000s you did Gwen Stefani.
Yeah, and I did Gwen Stefani's her first 2 solo tours. Also did Natasha Bedingfield, Etheridge, Collective Soul, Goo Goo Dolls, Styx, Mr. Big, some stuff with Christina Aguilera, Adam Lambert, Thievery Corporation.
Cool, Thievery Corporation.
I love Thievery Corporation too. That must be so cool because they don't really have vocals. You get to.
Well, the tour I did, we had 5 vocalists.
Oh, you guys! They were mostly instrumental
on stage. It was the 2 DJs, a guitar player, bass player, 2 percussionists, a 3-piece horn section, and then 5 different vocalists that would take turns. Each one had their own style, and they'd come out and they'd do a couple songs, and they would just kind of rotate through. And
Okay.
Yeah, because they have a loungy, almost like electronic. Yeah, they would play that a lot when I lived in Miami.
Tour I did. The tour I did was it was their Richest Man in Babylon album, and just a real collection of various world music styles, and that's why they had so many different vocalists, but really real cool act to work with.
That's fantastic. You got to do so many different genres, because sometimes you can get pigeonholed into one thing, like, all right, you only do rock, that's all you do. It's
funny because I did, like, for the longest time I was stuck in, it was like if there was a chick with the guitar, I got a phone call.
I know.
Indigo Girls for so long, it was just, I got pigeonholed of like bands, girls with acoustic guitars or girls with guitars, or pop music, which was fine because I've been incredibly blessed to have worked with so many immensely talented people, that it's like, for me, mixing is all about the music. It's like, I don't care what size of venue I'm mixing in. I don't have to be on the biggest tours. I have to be mixing stuff that I can, relate to or be inspired by, like stuff that I like to listen to. And, so my career has been fantastic for that, where it's just like the amount of talent that
Freeze.
I'm a rock metal girl, I loved 80s rock and metal, and I'm mixing all these acoustic acts and pop, stars, and all I want to do is mix rock and metal. So it was just like really having to burst through that little bubble of the girl group and pop stars to finally in 2009. I got hired to mix the band Mr. Big when they reunited, and it was just like, oh my God, really? Like, finally, because it was one of the bands that, like the talent there again, just talent that I was blown away by, like, that I used to always be like, God, like, why aren't there more bands like this? People who do guitar solos and drum solos and, just real talent, real music. So finally 2009 got to get my metal fix.
Nice. And now who are you currently out with?
I'm just came home from the UK with Elvis Costello. I've been with him since last summer.
Yes. Wow. Yeah. Talking about doing the gamut now. I mean, you just that's all the genres right there.
Yeah. He's got like a catalog of almost 500 different 500 songs, and it's an incredible catalog because he can do anything from pop to kind of punk alternative to Broadway and country and bluegrass. It's just incredible.
Oh, perfect for you.
Yeah.
So what are you looking forward to doing next? I mean, with we got all of this going on, but
right.
Do you have summer plans?
I was scheduled to do Blink 182 for the summer, but we'll have to see what happens because who knows how long our industry is going to be shut down. But if we're scheduled to start rehearsals on May 1st, which we'll see. Because that'll be a great a lot of fun to mix as well. So
have you been out with them before?
No, I haven't.
I didn't remember Blink 182. Wow, nice.
So I'm really looking forward to it, but hopefully it will happen. So
is it U.S. tour or European tour?
U.S.
U.S. Oh, okay.
All right.
Well,
did they just get back together? Kind of like this? Weren't they on a hiatus for a little while?
They were.
I think they did a tour last summer. So yeah.
Nice. Well, Michelle, we both went to the same school. I'll bring that in. We both went to Full Sail.
Oh yeah.
Which
Congratulations.
Thank you. Class of 7, and I'm class of 11. So 7 and 11. Let's go.
There we go.
Thank you so much. Wow. That was a whirlwind week. I hadn't really mentioned it, I guess, on this podcast, but I got inducted into the Full Sail Hall of Fame, as well as Michelle did it a few years ago as well. Yeah, that was where I got my kind of start for me in live sound, and because there was nothing like like your course online back in the day. You know, it was very few places you can go, but. And then I'm glad I did, with all the camaraderie that has now come. You know, going there was great because it was just so much gear that, you know, you just get to go in there and do it at the time. And then
they probably didn't have it all, right?
Oh,
what
yeah.
they have now is just...
Oh, yeah. What they have now is so much bigger, I'm sure, from when I went. And I know when you went, you were like, what? But yeah, let's get into that a little bit. What made you go there at the time?
Well, I decided in high school that I wanted to be a recording engineer. You know, I played piano since I was a kid, but I didn't want to be a musician. Mm-hmm. But music was my passion, and I was trying to figure out, like, well, how can I be involved with music but not have to be a performer? So this is back in the days of vinyl for all of you young people. And I used to, you know, just sit in my room and listen with my headphones on to the big 2 records at the time was Queen's Day at the Races and A Night at the Opera. And whenever I would, you know, listen to music, I'd always read the liner notes on the album cover, you know, from top to bottom. But when Queen's records came out, I was just like, mesmerized by, like, how are they creating these sounds? Like, how are they doing that? And the big thing with them was they didn't use any synthesizers. So they had this, you know, orchestrated sound that was all by, you know, 3 guys in the band, you know, and it was incredible. But as I'm trying to figure out, you know, well, what can I do? How can I be involved in music? I noticed that on every single record, there was this person called recording engineer. And I didn't really know what that meant at the time, but I decided, well, they've got to be important because they're on every single record, so I'm going to do that. So then I went to college for a year to major in music and had one music course and realized this isn't going to get me where I want to be. So then I discovered the recording workshop in Chillicothe, Ohio, and I went there. And they had like a 3-week program, basic intro to recording arts, and like an optional studio maintenance program after that. So I did that, came home and started working at a radio station. It was a brand new radio station. And I went in and said, yeah, I want to make commercials. And they're like, great, but you got to sell them first. So I had to, like, basically, you know, was selling radio advertising. After a while,
oh, hold on one second. You froze a little bit. Could you say that last line again?
Yeah, so I worked at the radio station for a little while. And I went to Nashville. I had a cousin who was living there, so she told me I could come down and stay with her and try and get a job. So I spent 3 weeks walking around Music Row in Nashville, which at the time, we're talking like the mid 80s. There was, you know, tons of studios still in business. Sure. And I literally walked around for hours every day, knocking on every door of every studio I could find, handing out my tiny little resume of WMGH and the recording workshop and trying to get a job. And I quickly realized I still have no idea how to get into this business. So I came back home, and then I heard about Full Sail. And I enrolled there, and the minute I got to Full Sail, you know, up until that point, when I told people what I wanted to do, everyone told me, oh, well, you can't do that. Or they thought I wanted to be and no one understood. It was like, well, you have to go to college and get a real job. You can't make a living doing this. So everyone was very negative. The minute I got to Full Sail, it was a complete different attitude. It was like, of course you can, you know, you can do this. And the support and the positivity there was incredible. And at the time, it it was a little, this was 1989. So it was a little office strip of buildings that the classrooms were in. And they were using a studio that was next door, a privately owned studio for their labs. And it was nothing like what the campus is today. And during the time there, when I was there, they were building Building A, which was the first, the Neve and the SSL studios. We moved into that about halfway through my time there. But it was when I was at Full Sail and I took my live sound course that I suddenly switched gears. Like, it never even occurred to me, having grown up going to concerts, that you can do that for a living. And when I had my first, day of live sound, I was like, oh my God. So I could mix music and travel. Like, it's a done deal.
Exactly.
I love traveling as well. So
same here.
Yeah.
I took that first course. I was like, oh no, it's not the studio.
Yeah.
Same here. Yeah. Realization.
So that was it. Like, I got out of, once I graduated, I worked at a little sound company. I moved around a lot. Like, I just went wherever I could to find enough work in audio. And I worked as a stagehand. I worked for Church Street Station in Orlando, which was a big entertainment complex. And I'd work in the AV department and mix in a couple of the venues. I worked at a couple nightclubs in Kissimmee. I just did any job I could in audio for years until I got my first tour. So.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
That makes perfect sense.
Grind it out. Every place that has a microphone or a desk. I was there too. Yeah, I did it. I did board op at ESPN Radio myself too before that. Stagehand, spotlight, weddings. I mean, everything.
Church on Sunday morning.
Gigs, whatever, to get that foot in the door and to get your pacings, and the timing, it takes for all of that, Have to be patient. I tell people that want to get into this, it's like, oh, yeah, you can always ride it out because not many people are that patient.
Right.
Really.
Who wants to wake up Sunday at 5 a.m.?
Yeah, that too.
And drive to the gig.
That too.
Well, that's, I think a lot of people getting started in the business, whether they're coming out of any of the schools that teach, audio and music production, or learning it themselves, they there's this expectation that they're going to graduate and walk into their dream job. And it's like, no, you're not going to graduate and be out there mixing Taylor Swift's next tour, or mixing the next hit record for whoever. It's you've got to start out. You don't even know what you don't know.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's
like I've had people say to me, well, I've done this, now how do I get to the next level? I'm like, you don't get to the next level, you just keep working. When you're ready, those opportunities present themselves. But there's no fast track to the top. You've just got to keep working, and when the opportunities arise, you take them and you just keep going.
And people are watching.
Especially now with social media.
It's very, because we recognize that most people are going to drop out of this anyway within, when you see the newbies, you're like, we'll see how, it's like, the temperament is going to take to stay and do what we do. So, but that, back to Full Sail a little bit though, I agree. Yeah. It was always, you can do it. And that's really what you need most of the time in this, because everybody's telling you no, or this ain't like, really, your parents, your parents aren't friends with Quincy Jones, so how are you supposed to,
Right.
Everybody thinks, you have to have a foot in the door already with a parent already doing it or something like that. When neither one of us had parents or uncles or anything that were in the business. It was just we grinded to get to where we're at, and
still do.
And still, exactly, and still do. And it's fun, really, it's how we were. It's just how I roll. I don't know how to.
Yeah, you wake up and you wake up and go to bed with the same state of mind.
Yeah,
it's just a constant hustle. Yeah, like that's that's the other thing too. It's kind of like you're always, well, when you're independent, you're always looking for your next gig. You never just all of a sudden get to a point where, your phone is ringing off the hook. It's like you get to a point where you have a reputation, but you still have to let people know that you're available and that you're looking. It's not just going to be people calling you every day saying, oh, here's a job, here's a job, here's a job. It's, it's a constant hustle. And a lot of people, they can't handle that either. So.
Exactly.
Interesting. Sure don't.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. How to play the game. And also, you were a part of putting together a great organization that I'm also a part of as well, which is called Soundgirls.
I'm going to stand up. Wait, I'm going to stand up for this one. Yeah, right? Okay. I came prepared too.
Yes.
Nice job, Dennis.
Nice job with you and Karrie.
Yes. Give us the story again on how that came about.
Well, when I started doing live sound, when I started working, touring, there were so few women on the road, and Karrie was one of the only other women I'd ever heard of that was on tour. And I think likewise for her, but even though she'd been working for Pearl Jam and the Chili Peppers, and I'd been doing the Spin Doctors and kind of similar, genres, but we'd never crossed paths until 2012. And in 2012, Terry Winston from Wham put together a panel of 5 women in live sound for AES. And we all met for the first time right before we went on this panel. And none of us ever had, we'd all been working in the business for more than 20 years, but none of us had ever met before, except for one. I knew Deanne Franklin, and Karrie knew Deanne, but the rest of us had never even heard of each other or ever crossed paths. And we instantly bonded. It was just, we were trading stories of how we got our start, why we got into the business. And they were all just the same story, like we had a passion for what we do. We all kind of started out, and just plugged away until we got to where we were. And it was just such a great experience that after the panel, I think Karrie had reached out kind of just saying how inspiring it was and how cool it would have been had we all known each other throughout our careers to be there to support each other. And at the same time, I was kind of I had been looking for a way to reach out to young women to show them that these jobs are available to you. You don't have to be a guy to do this, that you don't have to just do a traditional career. You can do whatever you want. If you have the passion for music, you don't have to just be a musician. You could also be a tech. And so we just started talking and kind of throwing ideas around, and that's where Soundgirls was born. Just kind of a way to support women who are working in the audio and music production, and also to empower young women who might be considering jobs but have yet to see women doing those roles, but to show them that you can, and here are women who are doing them and who are successful and who can mentor you and guide you along the way.
Yeah. An amazing organization. As soon as I heard about it, I think I emailed you and I was like, hey, I've known about both of you for years. And I couldn't find none of you because, you guys were never featured in any of the front of house magazines and all that kind of stuff. So and I'm like, where? And I would hear about you guys and it would never be the right band. It would be, it was like, I think I think they were talking about Karrie. It was like, Soundgarden or something. They were it was like all these like weird bands. It was like, really? Yeah, but it's out on the West Coast. And at the time, you kind of felt the coast thing. Like, it's not as close as it is now with, the internet and all of Facebook, that. It was like, how would I get in touch with you? How would I find Karrie? I didn't even know about Rat Sound at the time. I knew about like Sound Image, but I didn't even know how to, as a young lady trying to get into the business in like the early 2000s, I wish there was something like Soundgirls around at that time. So as soon as I heard about it, I was down for the cause and I couldn't wait. And it's been everything and more than what I initially even thought about it being. It's been fantastic. We've gotten gigs, me as a business owner with, Atlantic Records and Live Nation through these connections of Soundgirls. And this is exactly what we needed. Like, we didn't have a place where we could talk with other women to actually help each other with
even
other
guys
gigs.
come to those Soundgirls events. That's not even only for girls. That's for everybody.
Exactly.
Great network.
Yeah, it's open to anyone. And it's funny because that, like, when we first launched, it was early 2013, and the industry response has just been completely positive. Like, from all of the vendors and the companies, like, just like, thank God, like, it's, we so badly need this. But the other thing was that we had so many women writing to us saying, I've been the A1 at a theater in Texas for 15 years, and I thought I was the only woman who did this because I've never seen another one.
Exactly.
So just to be able to connect women with other women in the business,
Yeah.
Open their eyes that there is more.
It's funny. Some people are afraid, like, oh, it's just a male bashing group. It's like, no, it's like, I love my male peers and the guys that I work with. And I've been on crews where I've been the only woman. I've been on tours where there was only one guy. So, it's all about balance, but there are definitely some challenges for women that on tour and in, male dominated fields that men don't have to deal with. So it's just nice to have that other woman who understands that you can bounce it off of, and just the diversity is better for everybody because there's more than one way of thinking about things, and to have all those different opinions, it just kind of helps to bring a nice balance. So
yeah,
agree.
Totally. Thank you, ladies, for starting that up. It's been a game changer, and I've being in the business,
keeps growing. The fact that it keeps growing, and
that's
crazy.
They had AES panel this year or NAM panel, both.
Oh well, yeah, NAM.
The NAM panel?
We had panels. We partnered up with AES.
But didn't they have a
in the
booth at NAM or AES or both? No?
Both,
Yeah.
Okay.
Or was there one at NAM? I can't.
Because I didn't go this year. That's why I'm asking.
I can't remember. We kind of had the rooms. We kind of partnered.
But they always do
AES.
Thursday nights, right? They do at the house. Did they do that this year or no?
No,
they didn't. Okay.
No, but we got together at a few other things.
Yeah,
but
lunches, brunches,
exactly.
dinners.
We just
there's
get
always
together and get to talk shop with it's always fun. And thank you guys so much for coming together and really doing something great for the industry.
next generation
and the next generation. It's just opened it up so much. So thank you and Karrie for really kicking that into high gear and keeping it going. And now it's around the world.
Yeah.
I was in Australia and went to a Soundgirls meeting. Okay. So what you guys kicked off
worldwide. Wow.
Worldwide. London.
Congrats.
I met a Soundgirls. Well, yeah, I met a Soundgirl from New Zealand. I mean, just all over the place. So, yeah. Thank you guys again. That means a lot to us as a business and just to the whole. So, but yeah. All right, Michelle. I think that's about it. Anything else you would like to touch base with?
Yeah, backstory. We heard the backstory. Full Sail.
Yeah. We got into Soundgirls.
Next venture.
And the next thing we want to get into as well in the future, we want to have you do more things talking about your online course, and we want to have like an ongoing series that we're talking about, so you guys can listen out for that on the podcast, because we want to get that out there. I mean, even if you can't go full on into a place like Full Sail, but if you want the basics and you just want to, have fun and
get some knowledge,
get some great knowledge
get
that
started.
is good, please check out Mix Music Live. Let me get my Mixing Music Live.
And I just got another email from you. Don't panic.
Yeah.
What?
He just said he got another email from you.
Just got another email from you, so I see it. I see it every day. Yeah.
It's not on the camera.
Oh, okay, yeah, it's right here.
Yeah. So we'll have more of you on future podcasts as well, and this is a good thing. We get to do more of this because everybody's not working so much. So
everybody got time.
Everybody has a little time now. So thank you so much, Michelle, for coming on.
Yes, anytime.
Oh, again, like, how can people get in touch with you and your course? Give us all the links, the lowdown. What's going on?
Yep. Well, the website is mixingmusiclive.com, and you'll find everything on there. I've got a free ebook that they can download. It's called 7 Things Every Live Sound Engineer Should Know. And you can also find out the information about the course. You can sign up for the free newsletter. And my email is michelle@mixingmusiclive.com. Easy enough. And it's Michelle with 2 L's.
All right.
I actually downloaded that book too.
Yeah, we have that. Yeah. All right. Yeah, good stuff. We'll have the links in the summary as well. So, all right, good stuff. Thank you so much, Michelle, for coming on the show. Taking a little quarantine time towards us. Thank everyone else for listening. If you got any questions, you heard the links for Michelle. We'll also have it in the summary as well. Thank you for listening via iTunes, iHeartRadio, Spotify, all the good stuff. Please leave comments, rate us, and all that stuff as well. And if you have any questions, you can hit us up on the 23dB or 1-of-1 messaging. We'll answer your questions. We'll bring it online to the show as well. And I think that's about it, right?
That's it, yeah. But we'll be back soon with Michelle.
Exactly. We'll be back with more tips from Michelle, the great Michelle. All right. Thank you, everyone, for listening. And let's go.
Let's go, guys. Thank you, Michelle.
Thank you.
For more information of booking 23dB Productions, visit their website at 23dbproductions.com. Like and follow 23dB Productions at Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter for the latest work.